quorum anticipated in terms of physical quorum inside the room here. Just waiting for Trustee Kehoe, about 10 minutes
Recording
away.
in progress.
So we'll go ahead and get through some of the administrative stuff and we just won't vote. If I could get the Pledge of Allegiance, if our Trustee Langton, would you mind? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, and to the republic
for which it stands,
and one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair Jones. This meeting is being conducted as a virtual and in-person meeting. So I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Mr. Kehoe, Mr. Robbins,
Here.
Ms. Mee? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Present.
Ms. Martin? Yeah, okay. Mr. Rue? Mr. Oakham?
Here.
Okay, and Mr. Green is absent today. Trustee Rue will be participating under teleconference AB 2449. Also, Trustee Oakham is participating under teleconference AB 2449. Trustee Oakham, can you please confirm if there's any individuals 18 years or older present at your location?
Yeah, there is. My wife is here, but she's outside.
Okay, thank you. We also have Ms. Langton present today. Staff participating in the meeting include the following: Chief Counsel Stephen Rice and Senior Staff Counsel Frank Boyd. Trustees, please use the Zoom chat option to be placed in the queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute their mic until you're ready to speak. And now we may proceed with the agenda. Ms. Ginsburg is also present today.
That's awesome. And then Trustee Martin, duly noted on the roll.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. So then now that we have that through, we've got a relatively tight schedule. We'll skip the approval for the minutes until we have quorum inside the room. Is there any public comment?
None.
There being no public comment, we have two non-consent items today in the respective teams. Frank, I see you there, will lead the presentation of the conversation around the review of fiduciary council policy. He's about 10 minutes away. So yeah, I would go ahead, and I'm sure Mr. Kehoe has read thoroughly and will have his questions ready to participate. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair and trustees. For those of you on the Board of Investments that may not know who I am, I'm Frank Boyd. I'm a senior staff counsel that I usually appear in front of the Board of Retirement. Today, I'm here to talk first about the fiduciary policy. As you know, if you've read the memo, that the current policy was presented in 2020, and we have our contract fiduciary councils are coming to an end of their term, so we thought it'd be a good time to update the policy. The memo goes through the substantive changes that have been made. I'm going to briefly touch on them. We've changed the statements in section 423 regarding consultation with staff. It's going to follow our monthly fiduciary council report, which was provided to both chairs. And we did this because it really isn't feasible to report every single phone call and every email that staff has. Last night, I was going over the policy, and there are two modifications that we're going to make regarding section 4.2.1 and 4.5. The word council, we're going to modify that with the word fiduciary so that it's clear that we're talking about the fiduciary council. We've added a link to the California Rules of Professional Conduct. And those are the key changes that we made, and I'm open for any discussion or any questions that any trustees might have on the policy.
There being any? Yeah, Trustee Mee.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I do have a question. If you can go to the memo, page 2 of the 6, about one particular change that we're proposing here. Question and comment. Someone can share? No.
We actually don't have this.
Oh, the memo?
The
Okay.
memo, hold on, let me see. Alex, can you pull it up in?
I can read it too, so that everyone know what I'm talking about. So in the page 2 of 6, the second bullet point there, discussion proposing, to remove the CC, the communication, like what you go over earlier, the communication that has been CC, the two chair, and it's been proposed to remove. And then the reasoning is that the volume of the work has increased, and then also the monthly report is there. So I have been on this board like a year and 8 months, almost 2 years. I have been looking at that monthly report for 2 years. I put it 3 times because the monthly billing report doesn't give me any information outside the billing. It gives me a small table of showing, the item. Sometimes have a title, sometimes doesn't even have a title. And then last time I put a report, I want to ask question, and then I was told that I cannot ask question in a public section. So basically, from my experience of that monthly report, I don't feel I have any oversight with the fiduciary communication conduct of that staff. And then outside counsel, they report to the board, right? They report to the board. And this is one layer, at least the communication between outside counsel with our staff, and then looping in our chairs, with the CC. So that's important. It's on the policy because it's important to have maintain that, at least that level of communication, because the money reporters do it, right? So I don't like it. I don't think we should remove it. One is that it reduces the transparency of communication between our boards and then outside counsel, the work that they work on. Like when I look at the billing report, 90% of work is between outside counsel with our staff. And then if without that CC, that means that we have no clue what's going on in the 90% of work there. Right, so that's one thing, transparency. Second part is a reporting relationship. Outside counsel have reporting relationship to the board. Now we remove that layer of communication, the interaction. So I don't see the reason, being presented here as a valid reason. If my supervisor give me a task to do, I have been doing it in the past 70 years based on policy. Suddenly one day I say, oh, I just don't feel like to do it anymore because too much work. That's not the reason. Manage your resource, move people around, cover it, because it's important. If you hire people, if you need to, right? So, but removing it, it doesn't, it's not the right approach to do it. I don't know how much work is there. Just the word that copy, I don't imagine it's too much work, like just copy 2 people's name there, Yeah. I know maybe it requires some drafting some new email in the oral communication. Is still important. So that's my opinion. I'm okay with all other changes except this one. I think it should remain the same as current policy.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, maybe it's, thank you for the commentary, Trustee. So maybe it would be helpful, because I've been the chair before, so familiar with the flow of how much content that would be otherwise. If you can maybe just give some approximation to the board about the volume and the nature of those communications, and how, at least from an administrative standpoint, and I can say as a former chair, that level of detail coming through in a CC is just not, most of it's not relevant. So I think Ms. Mee, who's not had the role, she suggested, she's only been here for a month, 8, or a year and 8, maybe surmising that there's more to it and there's all this other kind of stuff too. Could you kind of just give the board a sense of what administratively is missing by not copying on the volume of that? That'd be helpful.
Well, what I think that might respond to Ms. Mee's concerns is if we beef up the report a little more and provide a summary of what was said. There's flexibility in the actual report, and it's given a brief summary of the subjects that were covered. That so that you're not, blind is what the discussion was, and we can modify the actual reports if that would be beneficial to both boards.
Modification is one option to go, but I'm not sure how you're going to modify it, because it was told a certain information cannot be shared in public sections. So
Right.
maybe that report can be broken into 2 parts of it. One part of it is the billing report that need to show in the public. A second part of it to some summaries of every content, what is about the subject, so that we have some kind of context, what's going on in the 90% of work, that at least we can even ask questions. Now I don't know what to ask, because it's not even shown on the report for me to ask. And then as like, we will say, I'm not a chair, most of us are not a chair, we have no clue, so no oversight, right? So think about it, maybe this part still can keep, it can reduce, the frequency of communication, still communicate with the chair, there's a lot. I'm assuming some part of it very critical, right? In detail, communicate, keep the chair in loop. And then that's one part. Second part, modify the report into a second part in closed session to share as a detail so that we can, the whole board, 2 whole boards have oversight. So that would be a way to go. So yeah. Just
Okay, trustee Martin.
Chair, I think Trustee Sean Keo just walked in, and then I was raising question about removing the CC to chair communication part. They say because the volume is too much. I told them, it's not the reason to not looking in, chairs about the work in the Fiduciary County Council. This 90% works between the council and the staff. So I concern there's no oversight after we move that 2 chair being CC in communication. So that proposed change, I would propose not to change it, keep the policy as same. So that's what I'm proposing.
All right.
Filling in you in.
Trustee Martin.
Thank you. So I agree with Trustee Me from a perspective I think we can find a compromise here. However, we don't know, maybe Patrick, goes through the emails. Maybe everybody does, maybe not every chair does, maybe there's chairs that read it. It just, I think what Trustee Me is trying to say, I agree, we should probably add some more meat to the reports that we see in the monthly reports. But putting 2 people on the email and keeping, the chairs involved, I think is important, because you start to remove them from it. And if they really are reading it, then we're taking away their chance to communicate directly with our fiduciaries. And I don't think we want to do that. And if they decide not to read it, that's okay too. But it feels like we're removing the chairs, and then, we can talk about telephone, how telephone goes. And by the time you get to the end, it's not always the right story. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I understand the oral communications take up time, but putting them on the emails, I just don't think that it matters either. I think it's better to put them on the emails than not. I just don't think we have a really good reason not to. Thank you.
So we can work on the reports, and perhaps if the committee wants, we could also add the chairs to the emails as opposed to the oral conversations.
Yeah, I don't know if this gets too complicated, but some chairs, like Patrick said, if there's too much back and forth and too much irrelevance in his mind, maybe chairs can opt in or opt out. I don't know if we're making it too complex every year, but it is a 12-month stint. So it's not like it's every month you're going back and forth. That's just a thought.
That is a suggestion that we can work on. I can work on this and bring it back. But if you want to solve this today, if you give me a little direction, I will do what I'm told.
I don't know. Steve, is there a best practices type thing here? I just want to make sure we're
I don't think there's a best practice on this, a uniform practice on this. We did show this policy to and discussed it with both of our lead fiduciary counsels, the Nosman Firm and Klausner Kaufman. They did not see any reason to keep that requirement of CCing all emails to the chairs in the policy. To give some perspective, in 2020, in the 2025 fiscal year, we had about $500,000 worth of billings to fiduciary counsel. If the chairs were literally copied on all of the emails involving all of that work, it's not difficult. It's not difficult to add the CCs to the email. It's just what's the benefit when I'm talking to Nossaman, for example, about the Marquez lawsuit, and maybe we're talking about some minor detail relating to service. There's kind of a marginal utility analysis. So what we have been doing very diligently is we talk to the chairs regularly about issues that are going on with fiduciary counsel. So there is that communication. It's just a question of whether the utility is really there for hundreds of emails.
This is Ron Oakham. I don't want to put my hand up on this phone here, but
You're good, Ron.
yeah, I think the chairs need to have some kind of very strong monthly summary of what's happening. Okay, we spend $500,000 with our lawyers. I think the chairs and the vice chair should have an evaluation and should at least know what they're talking about. It doesn't have to be, Steve, everything you're doing. I'm talking about every time you get an email, but at least there could be a review and a summary on a monthly basis of what's happening.
Yeah, so really this is kind of a trust issue, right? So if I told one of my staff members to CC me on every single email that they send, that means that I don't trust my staff. And I trust LACERA, and I trust our fiduciary. So I think the broad language should go out the window, but I do think that we should have language within most likely our contract with our fiduciary that says that things that apply to the boards or something along that language should be briefed to the chairs. And I know that's broad, but let me tighten it up. Essentially, things that have a direct impact to the fiduciary responsibility of the boards, or something that's like at a decision-making level should be brought up to the chairs and vice chairs, and then expressly spell out things where there's conflict between staff, those kind of things that clearly should be brought to our level, where there might be hesitancy to bring it to our level, but it should be spelled out that it is. So I'll put it back on staff to look at it. This would be a great thing for our future chief compliance officer, right? To look at and say, okay, what are these areas that will cause potential risk and liability, and let's spell it out in there. So let's get rid of the broad language. Let's kind of tighten it up a little bit, but loop us in when we need to be looped in rather than every single email.
So question there along those lines, Trustee Keogh. So Stephen, in the regular course of, at least I know on the BOI side, when you do bring issues, right? So as a part of the agenda, you will, again, to the benefit of the people here, because once I was not chairman and I was totally unaware of all the touch points you have with staff. Once you're chairman, you have multiple touch points where you're talking to Stephen and people around a whole variety of issues that you don't as a regular member. And so inside of that, I've always felt like you were just using professional judgment and coming and saying, hey, listen, this thing, just want to heads up, I want you to know this, I want you to know that, I want you to know this, things of that nature. So basically what you're trying to suggest, if I'm hearing you accurately, is the prerogative that Stephen is using in his regular pacing of, hey, I feel like I need to bring this to the attention of the chair and hint to the boards. You're now trying to like codify in some way into it, or is there some other set of activities that you're trying to contact outside of what he's already doing? So I'm just trying to like reconcile what it is you already do in those chair meetings, different from what you're there, if there is a difference at all.
Yeah, I would say both. So capture the heart of the flexibility. So we can say that very easily by just saying, things that apply to the board that are appropriate should be brought to the board, or whatever the case is, without a fine definition. But then also we need to figure out what the biggies are that we must be brought in on.
Okay.
And make sure that we're expressly brought in on those conversations. So if staff called fiduciary counsel and said, hey, we have a we have an executive manager who's stealing money. What should we do with this and that, right? That should automatically be one of those things that are brought to the board, right? Rather than, because it might be something that, well, let's take it till next board meeting and let's figure out how we're going to handle this, right? We don't want that. I don't think anything's going to happen, but we need to have that expressly spelled out. So the high risk and liability issues maybe capture those, but also give plenty of flexibility to staff on what to bring to us and what shouldn't be brought to us. And this is also rounding around conversations with fiduciary counsel who represents us. So that should be the focus. Right. Things that you don't want fiduciary counsel to know something that they're kind of awkward about. Do I tell the board or do I not? No, they should know that they have the full ability to do that with consulting with.
Is that helpful for you to be more precise?
We can address the comments about staff communication, but the innovation really that Trustee Keough is proposing, which I think is an excellent idea, is having more direct communication, whether it's written or verbally, with fiduciary counsel directly by the chairs. I think that's, and making that contractual, both as needed and maybe on some, maybe even monthly. I think there's a fair amount, but there should be more actually, I think, context. So I really appreciate that particular, which I do regard that as an innovation.
Gotcha. So then then by intent, then what we're suggesting, so staff, you and Frank will come back with a revised version for us to consider in a future state.
Yes.
Okay, super. I just wanted to make sure that you've done that. Thank you. Anybody else off screen or anything else have a contribution or question as it relates to the revised policy? Things I see David joined lately, or you got another one? Go ahead, Elaine.
Yeah, just because, I mean, if we do change the policy, I want it to be clear that that doesn't mean that a chair can't be copied, because it makes perfect sense to copy a chair when it's something related to a manager stealing or something.
Yes.
So I want to make sure we write it in a way, not that there's this blanket, chairs don't get copied, but chairs get copied when appropriate. Okay.
Yes, and we do in reality copy the chairs.
Yeah, trust me, there's nothing.
Well, but right now you have a duty to, because it's in the policy. Once it's out of the policy, you won't have an official duty to.
Yep, understood.
But to Debbie's point, we'd like to be in it from the beginning, so we read it the way it's intended to be read. Thanks.
All right, just me.
I just want to confirm that when it comes back, then I'd like to see the monthly report show more information to both board. So outside the chair, both board have oversight, a degree of oversight. Thank you.
Else in there. Okay. All right, Frank, was that it?
No, we have one more.
All right, go ahead, fire away.
Okay.
At least on that one, I know there's
Oh,
another
yeah,
item,
yeah,
but just
yeah.
on the
Yeah,
policy revision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so we need a motion to send this to both boards, so we can make the corrections before it goes to the boards, so that we can get the policy in place.
So procedurally then, so I know we only meet once a quarter, so if he goes back, you make a stab at the draft. That's through there. Are we voting now to say that the draft, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out from a steps perspective, because I'm pretty sure everyone would like to see whatever the innovative draft would be.
There are two ways to go. One is to bring this back to the next JOGC meeting, which would be in November. However, between now and then, we are hoping, this is the second item on today's agenda, to have the fiduciary council RFP well underway, and we want to attach this policy to that RFP.
Right.
But it's important that this policy be right. So if we need the extra time, we need the extra time. It's really up to the committee.
And we don't have a way of like voting kind of in absentee. Right?
The
Like
next meeting is November 6th.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be sensitive to the time. Just trying to be sensitive to the timeline.
This has been 7 years without
Just to be clear,
He's rushing.
the acting CEO is reminding me, which is of course true, that the other option is we will incorporate these changes. They will, if there's a recommendation by the committee, go to the boards, and there's still that additional layer of review, and final approval
Right.
is with the boards, not with this
Right.
committee.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
All right, good. All right, so then we just need a motion then to, why don't you state the motion as you listed it out with the broader language thing in there, and we'll vote on that.
So I'll motion for the BOR for the recommendation for approval of this policy with the stated changes that was directed to staff.
Well, to be clear, it's a recommendation to the boards from the committee.
From the committee, so it's one,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, to
second.
approve with the changes.
Yeah, better worded. Thank you.
Yeah, gotcha. And then we got a second. Okay.
We just need it for one motion, not for the board BR.
Oh, that's
No, no,
right.
that's
That
good,
is
that's good.
JOC.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
That's
right.
right. This
Okay,
is with
so
the
for the
video.
JOC, say that.
So the second's the same.
Okay, Ms. Me,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Robbins.
Yeah.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Wu,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
All right, super. Phase two, RFP.
Oh,
Thank you,
phase
Frank.
two. So at this point, we are asking that the committee recommend to the Board of Retirement and the Board of Investments that the RFP for fiduciary counsel be issued, and that the committee discuss the process by which the candidates will be evaluated. Before we get into the discussion of this section, there's been a few minor edits that were caught. At page 5, the first paragraph, the assigned professionals on the attorney list, we're going to add states in which the attorneys are admitted into practice. Page 5, second paragraph. One second. There's a typo. It says a sentence including the name of the perform who is, it should be person. And page 7, section J.
Yep.
We're going to add the actual agreement will be different than the agreement, the sample agreement that's attached. So it's clear that this is just a sample agreement.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. For J, under engagement agreement.
Right. A sentence we're going to say that the actual agreement will or may be different,
Oh, I see. Okay.
as opposed to this contract. There might be changes in the contract depending on the firms.
Right.
So also, I wanted to discuss with the committee, the last 2 times that we've done an RFP, it's been the board's decision, the board chair's decision to form an ad hoc committee. This is a decision that's made by the actual chairs. However, the committee may want to discuss this, so we get a little guidance and understanding. So when this does come up in front of each board, that the chairs have an understanding of certain issues that might be helpful. An RFP is actually more nimble because it doesn't require us to come back to the JOGC each time for a change. So if you desire, you can just have some discussion on that as well. I'll take direction.
Yeah, so question. So was it 2020 and then 2015, the last time these went
Yes.
out, there were ad hoc committees?
Yes.
I assume, not to suggest that you're old and whatever else, but you recall the process, the ad hoc committees for these?
Yeah, I don't have. I can give you, so basically it's 3 members from each board. Members who are on the Board of Retirement and the Board of Investment can only sit for the BOR.
Oh, okay.
And again, it's not subject to the Brown Act, so those committees can do their work and present to the board.
Okay. And then they're appointed by the chair, or by the ad hoc committee is appointed by each of the respective boards?
No, the
Or-
chairs of each
Or
board.
the chairs of each boards? Okay. Yeah, any other questions for those of you who don't have the slide before me? Yeah, trustee me.
I know our chair BOI is not here, but I just want to say I volunteer for the ad hoc.
Okay, we'll let him make prerogative on his choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
On that end.
So we need a recommendation that the committee recommend to the Board of Retirement and the Board of Investment to move forward with this RFP.
Any other questions? Anybody else out there in remote land? Any questions? Okay. if there being none, we have a motion to approve the RFP as
I'll
requested.
move it.
We have a second.
Second.
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Robbins, Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. Oakham. I see you saying yes. Okay, the motion passes unanimously, and we have to do the minutes too.
Okay. All right. So now that we do have a quorum back in the room, we'll hop back up to item 4, approval of the minutes. For those who had a chance to review prior to the meeting, has anyone seen any amendments or anything that need to be corrected? If not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move.
Second.
Ms.
There
Mead,
we,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Robbins,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
and Mr. Oakham.
aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, gotcha. Do we have any items for staff review?
We do not.
We do not. And then any items for future agendas? No, we do not. Any comments for good of the order? There being none, I think this may break a land speed record. The meeting's adjourned.